Welcome back to Boys Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
I know last time I was down.
Last time?
Well, the last podcast we were doing, I was a little down in the dumps because I wasn't sure whether to continue or to, just give,
have a final and go away.
Yes, but I've discussed it with Mike here, and we decided to take a little bit of a little leave from our podcast for a couple of weeks.
About a month. The point is, Sarah's really, really busy in post-editing a production she's been working on, and she's having trouble doing everything. So what she's going to do is have about 3 to 4 weeks off. And is it coming back on the 6th of next month?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're going to miss us for a couple of weeks, but on the 6th of next month, on the Monday the 6th of August, you will be seeing some more postings. So we haven't gone anywhere, right, Sarah?
Yeah, and so you guys are not confused. We're just saying this on the 8th of July.
No, 6th. The 6th.
The 6th of...
The 6th is Monday.
Well, yeah, the 6th of...
The 8th is Wednesday. So I said
No,
6th.
I meant today.
Oh, the 8th of July. Yeah.
8th of
Right.
July.
Today's the 8th of July. Yeah.
You don't. If you do find this weird, because, like, say that this came out by the end of this month, it's just so you guys know.
But we're not going to be. Yeah, we're going to have a week or two off. But yeah.
Yes.
Or whatever.
So anyway, back on topic.
That's what we meant. So yeah.
So the movie we're reviewing today is called Pearl, which was released in 2022. And I know we reviewed the first X movie, and I said no, there won't be a sequel.
Guess
but
what?
Turns out
There
it's
was.
not a sequel per se.
prequel.
It's a prequel.
And what they're doing now? They're releasing a sequel. Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
It just came out this month, being in July, and is making. Well, I don't know how long it's going to be out there for.
Well, I don't know. It's only just been released, hasn't it?
Because this movie, no doubt, it appeared on the screen for a bit, and then it went to home release, or what would you say?
Also, the current movie, which has only just been released, was, I believe, released just a couple of days ago. Now, I haven't checked up any notes. I presume it's going to do a cinema run. And we'll see what happens.
Yes. And as you guys will, it focuses on Mia Goth's character, Maxine, I think her name is.
Maxine Minx or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
and she is continuing her vast career in the 80s.
But we're not going to talk about that.
But we're not here to talk about that one. We're talking about the prequel.
See, if anyone saw the X movie, that's with Mia Goth and what's her Jenna Ortega and different people. Now, it was supposed to be these people going to a farm, and there was a lady there.
A creepy lady
Called Pearl something or other, and she was this old lady living in this house.
With her husband, Howard.
And they were very old and decrepit and stuff. And you found out later on, and when she's talking to, I think, me, I said, you look just like me when I was young.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is where we saw some photos there, and I took it as denial that this had no connection. At first I thought maybe they're related, but I don't think it's related. It's just a matter of just looking like the person from years ago.
Yeah.
But
I think these might have been done about the same time with an idea of doing the prequel.
yes.
So that's why they had her and different things and whatever, yeah.
So anyway, of course this is directed and written by T. West. He did Ty West,
yeah.
who did the first X movie, and now he's doing this one, and now he's doing the Maxine's one that's just came out.
Yeah. You're taking my bit away from me.
He's kind of doing it all his own, meaning he's not letting another writer or filmmaker tell his story.
Well, here we go. We'll take that as a segue into my bit. Produced by Jacob, crikey, how do you spell it? Jafke, Jafke, Jacob Jafke, Ty West, Kevin Turin, and Harrison Crease. Okay, now it was based on characters by Ty West, written by Ty West, and believe it or not, Mia Goth had a hand in this one.
Yes.
And directed by Ty West. Go West, young man. Okay,
It's amazing he doesn't make a cameo like Alfred Hitchcock.
He could have. He could have been a dead body laying around somewhere. Now, okay, a couple of players, if you will. Okay, right. Mia Goth plays Pearl. Nice young girl, a little country lass in Texas there.
Yeah,
nice,
roughly.
Sweet, sort of a bit. David Corenswet, I think that's the right pronunciation, plays a projectionist man that she sort of falls in love with a little bit.
Yeah.
Tandy Wright plays Ruth, Pearl's mummy dearest, and she plays a really cretinous mother. She did a really good act.
Matthew.
Tandy's probably a very nice lady. Matthew Sunderland plays Pearl's father. Doesn't have a major speaking role in it. He's infirm, he's in a wheelchair and stuff, but he does make his presence felt. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Emma Jenkins-Purro plays Mitzi, Howard's sister. Now, Howard is Pearl's husband who's gone away to the war. Now, this is supposed to be about 1918, so it's probably the First World War or something.
Probably.
Let's have a look at it. Alistair Sewell plays Howard, Pearl's husband. He only gets a bit here and there, but he's interesting enough.
Yeah, and of course, as a bit of a not so big appearance is the actor playing his mum, obviously, but called Margaret's Missy's and Howard's mum, obviously.
Amelia Reid-Meredith.
Even though it's not a very big role.
So you only see it from a distance, bringing some food to Mia's, Pearl's mother, Ruth, but she's a bit arrogant. Anyway, I can't think of anything else I want to talk about at the moment. But let's just say it's a nice little thing with not necessarily a Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel.
Well, I told you last time, Mike, that it has a Wizard of Oz, dark, psychotic, psychological type horror theme to it. I mean, it deals with Pearl wanting to establish herself in Hollywood by becoming a dancer or erotic dancer, and she thinks that she gets her big chance or big break when an audition kind of comes to town.
The auditioning team comes to town and she tries out for it and doesn't get it because she's more of a chorus girl type, not a leading lady type, and she was rejected because she got too many of those anyway.
Yeah, and they were looking for an all-American type.
More American girl, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, somebody they can market.
Yeah, because back then, I think blondes got the most looks. I mean, most appeal.
I suppose blondes were more preferred in some cases, but there's a lot of brunettes out there. But the point remains is she didn't have that
appeal.
Didn't have the Barbie look. How's that? The nice features, the nicest figure, the pretty hair. She didn't have everything they're looking for.
Yeah, even though you look in, this is black and white movies, and you see. Most of the time you see in black and white that they have dark hair, and of course the blonde ones, they naturally stick out because their hair is a greyish white.
Greyish white and black and white, but
this is what.
But the point still remains is that a lot of them had dark hair, but so it can't be just the hair, but they just didn't have the right look.
Yeah. And
the dance moves they're looking for. Anyway, do you want to get into telling the story?
Yes. So we meet Pearl, who is a country, just a country girl
living in Texas on a farm.
And she works her butt off for her mother, obviously, and her mother takes her for granted, saying, treats her rather rudely. Like she even has to look after her father, who's confined to a wheelchair, whom I think may have had a stroke off screen.
He looks like he's had a stroke. We're not really sure. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Possibly.
always confined to a wheelchair. Doesn't speak much, which is kind of sad.
But Pearl talks to him, has to bath him and stuff and dress him and stuff, and part of her job.
Yeah, and she's the most most company he gets in this movie. Obviously, I don't think his wife even says 2 words to him, or maybe more or less she talks more to Pearl throughout this movie. Obviously,
Yeah.
Anyway, Howard, Pearl's husband, is already at war, and he sends letters, and Pearl both misses him and hates him for being away, stuff like that. She doesn't like it that she's left to the whims of herself, her pushy mother and stuff. Also, her mother and her husband, they're, I guess, German immigrants, or if that's a term.
Yeah.
Who they still speak the German language.
Well, yeah, they speak.
Or the mother does anyway.
Well, yes, she breaks the German, so yeah. But the point is that I don't think it's the biggest problem.
It's not the biggest problem.
The Spanish flu was actually rampant at that time, and what happened is mother decided to isolate themselves at the farm so they wouldn't come in contact with anybody as well, which made things a bit harder as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
everything went wrong, Yeah.
Pearl has these big dreams of being a chorus girl dancer, or just a dancer anyway, and she often practices dancing in the barn and around the animals, stuff like that. And well, it's okay, I guess. Also, guys, when they do the credits in this movie, they do it like the old-fashioned way, like a certain style about it. That's sort of similar to what I went through when I was doing Attack of the Cat People a little bit, even though this was in color. So it was like, even the opening scene makes me think of The Wizard of Oz, where you have this door, it opens out to a very bright green and bluish landscape and stuff like that. Very pretty. And of course, like I said, Pearl is like Dorothy with the dreams of wanting to go beyond her backyard. So anyway,
somewhere over the
and of course this is back in before Wizard of Oz, so don't get me wrong. So anyway, she goes to town to pick up some medicine and for her dad and for herself I think it's morphine. I think that's
morphine or something.
Yeah, and she goes by the cinema to watch some Palace Follies, I think it was called.
Oh, it's one of those old dance
beautiful
films.
Where it has women dressed in fancy dresses and dancing merrily, obviously.
Yeah, the old type of movies, the old songs when dancing on stage and stuff. It looks pretty crappy nowadays, but it wasn't bad then.
Back then, it was pretty good. Anyway, the projectionist tells her if she's interested in seeing any more of these types of movies, feel free to let him know, and he'll give her free, passes or free
free something.
But doesn't it? Anyway, so she goes home, and as she's going home, she makes out with this local scarecrow.
He takes him down after he takes him away from his job and dances with him, and
she fantasizes the projectionist on the scarecrow's body.
Yes.
And she screams at it, saying, "I'm a married woman," blah, 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 type of thing.
Yeah.
It was very hilarious. Yeah. Soon enough, she arrives back home. She's wearing the scarecrow's hat, which is like a top hat. He gave it to her. And her mother tells her to get rid of it because it might have diseases.
Lice in it and stuff, everything, yeah.
Anyway, later that evening, her mother wants to know why she was late back to the farm, and she says that she just bought. Oh yeah, and she actually asks her about how the money that was taken from her, her bank, from her wallet. Or not so much a wallet. And she asks Pearl what happened to it. Pearl says, "I spend it on some lollies at shops." Of course, her being a strict mother, she says that since you ate those lollies, you're forbidden to eat dinner. Yes. So it's one of those things. If you,
little bitch.
It's like those old things when if you eat something before dinner, there goes your eating privileges. I don't know.
Whatever.
It's very strict in this case. Anyway, so she's forced to not to eat, and she's also forced to sit at the table while her mother, eats, which I think is just plain on horrible. Anyway, so soon enough, let me see, Pearl is feeding her crocodile, or talking to her crocodile.
Yeah, it's got a crocodile called Theda, Theda. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, back in those days in the old silent movies, there was a lady called Theda Barrow or something or other. See? Bit of a Hollywood theme going through here, folks.
She also gets wind from her sister-in-law, Mitzi, who arrived here at the barn with her mother, giving him a stuffed pig, I think it was.
A roast pig.
A roast pig.
Stuffed. It becomes stuffed laden off all the maggots hanging all over it. That's
a
what
roast
stuffed
pig
then.
as a bit of a, to...
Hold them out?
Yeah. But of course her mother... Ruth says,
Arrogant,
we don't want
proud.
we don't want charity, blah, blah, blah.
How about food?
Yeah. And, of course, Mitzi tells Pearl that about some people auditioning for dancing girls at the church hall.
Yeah, they're on tour looking for...
local talent.
Local talent, yeah.
Of course, it's happening very soon, and Pearl wants to take part in it, obviously. The mother objects to it, obviously, because she doesn't like the fact that her daughter wants to leave.
It's taking her away from working on a farm and looking after her father.
Yeah.
Well, there you go then.
Anyway, they leave the roast pig out on the front door, obviously, and becomes covered in maggots much later.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Gross.
Oh, sorry, back
Yes.
gross.
Anyway, later on, later that night, I think, much later on, Pearl takes her father out to the alligator or crocodile, I don't know.
She's seeing him pushing him in.
She's tempted to push him in, but then her mother spots her, and she takes her husband back inside, obviously. And, of course, later on, she is approached by her mother about the Palace Follies poster she kind of hid away.
Yeah, the poster handbill thing, yeah.
She found out that her daughter is being, going to town, watching these things behind her back. And her husband Pearl's mother gets annoyed, tells her that you're going to stay at the farm, blah, 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 in a nasty way. And, of course, she goes on to explain about that if she goes to the auditions, that they'll find out about her set of problems. I think that's true.
Mother knows Ruth ain't the full quid.
No.
She's off the twig a bit. She's slightly deranged.
Yeah.
Which
anyway,
comes up very shortly.
She then tries to attack her daughter, or fights her a little bit, trying to get her to see it her way. And eventually, her daughter gets the upper hand where the fire...
Well, they're struggling standing up, and Ruth pushes her back towards the fireplace.
Yeah, and Ruth
that was heading on you, folks.
Yeah, Ruth gets fire burnt on her dress, and Pearl tries to get some water to, throw on her, but it's too late.
No, she threw on boiling water compound the problem.
Okay, because she completed the problem by burning her up.
Yes.
Anyway, after that, she then throws her dead mother into the basement. Then she quickly leaves to meet the projectionist to make out or go have sex with him.
A really good rollicking session.
Yes, she also fantasizes about her being on the stage, dancing. We don't see the sex scene being keeping
necessary.
to the feeling for that period type stuff.
No,
they decided not to make it.
You didn't really
You have to need to show it.
I mean, people go in a room. There's a bed there. They kiss stuff. They come out the next morning. They didn't play Scrabble.
Nope.
Okay.
Anyway, he goes on to explain about how he hopes to take her away to Italy so she can... Oh, I should mention, when they did meet up for hanging out for when she wanted to see a movie or two on his projector thing, he showed her an illegal Italian,
an R-rated
an
one,
R-rated
or
one
X-rated one
from that period.
from Europe, where people were having sex and stuff, and she was transfixed. What?
Yes.
And he said, yeah, they do it over there. They don't have any censorship laws and stuff. And she was really taken by it.
Yeah, by the time they finished doing it, I think she's so keen about getting her to be having him take her away to Italy or one of those foreign countries to do that sort of thing, obviously. And he's taken in by the whole, those R-rated stuff, and he wants to. He thinks there's a big market for it, which it does probably has a market for it back in the day. Yeah. Anyway, soon enough, he drives her back to the farm. There he meets her dad, and they go up to her room to continue making up. But all the time, he kept hearing a thump, thump, thump in the basement.
And guess who that is? Mother's not quite dead yet.
Yeah. She tells him that it's a dog, or her dog, that's downstairs. But later on, as she's introducing the other animals to him in the barn, he asks about her dog, and then she slips up.
No, they said, what dog?
Yes.
Oops.
He then plans on leaving or fleeing, but then she takes up a pitchfork and stabs him into the chest. And then, much later on, she gets dressed. She washes the blood off her, and then she smothers her father to death.
Pillowcase or something, rather.
And then he takes one of her mother's dresses, a very bright
red, blood red, fire engine red, that type.
Yeah, a bright red one, including the top hat too, obviously. And then she dumps the projector's car and him into the water,
a bit like a Norman Bates job,
where he gets devoured by the alligator. Then she goes over to the church hall to wait for her audition. While we're there, we see girls auditioning and some getting turned down because either their performance is crappy or the fact they're not the right girl they were looking for. Anyway, very soon we'll find out. And as Mitzi asks her if she's not scared about this sort of thing, but Mitzi comes off as a little shy and a little scared, but at the same time, she allows Pearl to get in line, of course. Pearl is not so scared or afraid.
She wants out, so she's prepared to do anything, literally.
She practically packed up a bag, that's on her cycle or bicycle.
Ready to go. If they said yes, you can go now, I'll go now.
Yeah. So when she has her turn for auditions, she dances up a storm, and we get a bit of a fantasy sequence over this dance number. And by the time she's finished, the guys who are auditioning, they say, sorry,
you're not what we're looking for. And actually, I've got some notes here. She wasn't young enough, and she wasn't blonde enough, and she wasn't all-American enough.
Yeah.
There you go.
Seems that they were looking for the more like all-American type girl.
Younger and blonde and all-American type. But since she looked more European with dark hair. So,
yeah.
And she wasn't... She just wasn't quite what they're looking for.
And they did say also in some of the scene that they have plenty of girls like her, brunettes, stuff like that.
They don't want them.
But they are looking for someone that's the opposite to
like her friend Mitzi.
Yeah, and the other girls we saw audition were all brunettes, or some of them. I think there was one at the end that had a slight blonde, or maybe been a red hair. I'm not sure because I wasn't paying attention. But aside from that, she's the opposite to Mitzi. So that's just, and she cries out that she's a star, blah blah blah, and she gets pulled out by the assistant, and she's crying outside. Boo. And Mitzi approaches her, saying that it's okay, that it's not the end of the world. Then Mitzi and Pearl, they head back to her house, and Pearl continues to cry and is upset, and Mitzi tells her to vet her frustrations about what she must be feeling. So she tells her how
She tells everything about this, that, and the other, hating her parents and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, and having an affair, and blah, blah, yeah.
She tells her to tell it telling it to Howard. I mean, Howard, that's what
talk to me like you're talking to Howard. Yeah.
So she tells him how much she hates him, but how much she misses him, and how she is, she had an affair with the projectionist, and that she killed her parents, and that she wished that her life was. She felt like she was not all there. Obviously, of course. Then once the everything was let out,
Pearl coerces Mitzi to confess that she actually won the audition.
Yes, because
not a happy chappy.
Yeah, she says that she doesn't mind.
She did, really.
She did mind, but Mitzi tries to play it down that she didn't know what she's talking about. But I think we both know she may have won, or maybe
she did win.
Yeah.
She acknowledged her body language and the way she looked.
Yeah, she looked a bit.
Yes. She didn't say no. Either.
Yes. Anyway, soon enough, she
tries to leave.
She tries to leave, and then we get Pearl chasing her after her with a very big axe.
A big one. Not a hatchet, a big axe. Yeah.
And we watch the girls as Pearl chases down Mitzi, and she kills her.
And then
she chops up her bodies, her legs,
feeds it to her pet crocodile, alligator, whatever. Yeah.
Then later on, let me see what happens. She goes to her dead mother, who's in the basement, who's completely dead now, and she's cradling her body, and she's hallucinating that her mother is singing to her, stuff like that, and saying how much she loves her. Then later on, we see her putting her mother in her seat in the dining table along with her dead father, and they're eating dinner along with the completely roasted but totally unedible pig.
Well, I was going to say, at this point she's trying to atone for her crimes by trying to make a happy family environment for when her husband comes back from the war. Yeah. So you can see there's Mummy and Daddy and me, we're all happy and smiley, and Mummy and Daddy are sitting at the table dead. The food's mouldy by the time he gets back there, and there's maggots and crap all over the pig.
Yeah. Soon enough, Howard returns, and here he gets a scene of seeing both his dead in-laws, and he sees Pearl there, standing there with a pitcher of lemonade, I think it was. And while she's smiling, the credits roll over her all the time. She continues smiling.
And smiling. With a deranged look on her face.
But at the same time, you feel like she's about to break out. Well, looks like she's at the breaking point.
Yeah. She snapped.
And then, slowly, they kind of do the...
There'd be nets sort of going in there, so you get smaller and smaller.
And smaller. And soon enough...
It doesn't get stuck on a nose.
That scene's gone.
Fades to black.
And then the credits continue rolling, and that's the end of the movie.
So, tweren't bad. I mean, now you've got to remember, this wasn't an action horror, it was a psychological, so they can move a tad slower. A bit like a drama. So, when you go that, I think the atmos that Ty West put into it by his directing style and whatever.
He went for a different approach.
It went, okay. It's going creepy, and you going, I think he hit the mark with it.
Yeah, I think so.
I found one teeny little problem.
What's wrong
with it? You just mentioned the bit at the end where the camera is focused on Pearl's face. Yeah. And it's looking deranged while she's looking at her husband. The credits rolling. Her face was there too long.
Yeah, well...
They should have faded her face out a bit faster and just fade to black and completed the credits. But her face was there for quite some time, and it was getting like, hey, this is getting boring.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. It was a bit on the...
That's just a cutting thing. Yeah.
But I think it was
above that,
the director wanted to do.
Oh yeah, you want to capture the fact that she's crazy, she's a loon.
Yeah. And that's all, folks.
Here it is.
That's all, folks.
Development. The filmmaker stated he intends each film to have its own distinct style and genre of horror, describing his approach to X. He said he was heavily influenced by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Told you that.
I know that.
Even though he had a bit of a fix on the Dorothy and Toto in
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, yeah, and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, there was a bit of a feeling of that in it. It had that same sort of lonely country, farming, community type horror type stuff. Really good, really good. So I like it, actually.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, I like the fact that it wasn't same formula or feeling in this movie, obviously, that he managed to give us something different to look at instead of the Chainsaw Massacre thing for the first one.
But they were trying to work on a backstory for the old lady at the farmhouse.
Yes.
And what a story. What a backstory.
Yes.
Made a whole movie for a backstory for the lady who's a creepy old lady at the farmhouse.
I did think though, how did Howard end up, going along with Pearl, in her what she did in the first movie, how he went along with it. I mean, by the sounds of it, I think he was probably shocked when he saw his dead in-laws, obviously.
Probably didn't like them that much, so that does help, yeah.
But maybe he was such a kind-hearted man, and decided to still care for Pearl to an extent and not let it ruin their marriage if they could help it. I also think when Mitzi was killed, that behind the scenes, when her mother finds out, they probably think that she ran away to go to Hollywood.
Yes. And
we never saw her again or seen her again.
Oh, now here's something. Okay. I thought we were talking about a few things before. Now, the X, the first film, and this film were filmed back to back on the same set. You said it was the same house. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was actually filmed back to back, same location, everything else. So they planned to do it that way, make both movies at the same time. So you said, it'd be one movie. Well, no, they already had it planned, had a second movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty groovy.
It's handy.
So they did quite good. So they planned the backstory all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. Mm-hmm. I actually filmed them in New Zealand too. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think both movies were done in New Zealand. I'm not sure if the next one, where it's going to be filmed at.
I don't know, because he's going to be hitting Hollywood or something, or New York or LA or something or other. So they're probably going to relocate it.
Yeah, considering that it's going to take place in they may still film it in Australia, New Zealand for all we know, and just try to, CGI it to look like America. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it'd be better off just doing America.
I mean, it's possible that when, like they do in a lot of movies in Australia, guys, and they Americanize
They Americanize it. Like The Matrix was done in Sydney, and they made it look like America. That sort of stuff. They do that.
Yeah, I mean, considering
some of the Thor movies were made.
Considering this took place in a country environment, could be anywhere. Could be anywhere, as long as it doesn't have any trees or any certain things that will give it away.
Yeah. Anyway, what I'm going to say is a release. Pearl had its world premiere at the 79th Venice International Film Festival. September the 3rd, 2022. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it released in theatres in the United States in September 16th, and then released on video on demand on the 25th of October, same year. So it didn't have a long cinema release. Mm-hmm. So yeah, as I said before, so I didn't know. I think really, even though it was 2022, I think there was a bit of combination of in post. COVID, people weren't going back to cinemas in droves yet, even though it was later in the year. Maybe some other good things were on at the same time. So they said, we'll make more money going video on demand. So they just took it out of the cinemas. Mm. But having said that, I didn't mention that before. budget and whatever. But the budget was about 8 mil, and the box office about 10. But limited, and video on demand, home media, DVDs, Blu-ray, whatever, probably would have made a few thousand for them. A few million for them, probably. Yeah.
I do think this movie and the X movies, I think all of them are going to make them into another future cult classic movie.
Having said
when you think about it, I think that's my opinion.
Having said the reviews, this is what I like. This is what I don't see this often enough. Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 92%, based on 209 reviews. That's what I like to see.
That's the numbers
the
I like.
People like it. It says Pearl finds Ty West squeezing fresh gore out of the world he created with X, and once again benefiting from the brilliant Mia Goth's performance. Metacritic had an average score of 76 out of 100, 76%. What else we got here? Cinema Score gave the film an average grade of B- on an A+ DF scale. Post Talk gave it 75%. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody else, for all the other ones there, it's pretty much,
Yeah.
all positive like that. They like it. It's really, 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 really weird that a lot of the guys who give these reviews say the same thing.
Yeah, it's movies like this, guys, and a lot of other ones that are done by filmmakers who take control in their productions. It's a nice approach when you think about it. Unlike other people who think, it has to be our way or the highway. It's the attitude. I'm glad that such films like this manage to gain favor and manage to get a voice heard and all that stuff. I like the fact that this movie and the other movie and the whole trilogy is going to probably get a lot of favorable impact, and soon enough it's going to be a lot of people will be saying that I wish to dress up as either like Pearl or like Maxine for Halloween or something cool like that. If not, but still, it is an interesting approach all around. So anyway, what do you
I don't normally go through the accolades.
What do you mean?
What they won, nominated for accolades.
Yeah, the accolades. That will probably take us ages.
It's won some awards. I
Several.
won't go through all the nominated ones, the whole list of them here. But here we go. Toronto International Film Festival. People's Choice Award for Midnight Madness, whatever that is. It got runner-up, which means obviously second place, which isn't too bad. Sitges, SITGS Film Festival. It got Best Director, 1. Best Actress, 1. Boston Society of Film Critics, Best Cinematography, 1. Where's another win? Critics' Choice Super Awards, where others. Best Actress in a Horror Movie and Best Film in a Horror Movie. Mia Goth won 2 of those. Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, Best Lead Performance. Mia Goth won.
Van Gogh. Van Gogh is pretty much an interesting magazine that's been around since the 80s.
Okay, wait a minute. Saturn Awards, Best Independent Film. Pearl won. So and lots of nominations from all the things as well. So it just goes on and on and on. So it's not a bad look. If you like X, and if you say, this is really good, and you know the creepy old lady in that, did she play a double role in that? Did she play the old lady and the young girl at the same time? There was something in there. I can't in the back of my head. I can't remember. But anyway, what happened was that she had this really creepy role in that, and I said, "Ooh, this answers all the questions. Why is the creepy lady?" Yeah.
I do wonder in the next movie whether there'll be a connection between both films, even though already...
Well, it would be, because this Maxine Minx has gone on from making... trying to make this X-rated movie at this house when her friends got killed and stuff, and this is probably a couple of years later, and she's still in the film industry.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but she's a bit bent.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think that more or less in most movies, if you were in the porn industry, some actors are, back in the 80s and the 70s, they managed to actually go from being in porn movies and going into actual real stuff. Like,
not always.
Not always, but if you were in Roger Corman's stuff in the 80s, they no doubt most of those women would have been either actors in porn movies. Well,
no, they wouldn't.
I mean, I guess it's because of the women that he used in the movie.
There was a movie who
were in the 80s.
Who did that one? Was it Not of This Earth? Remember that movie? Yeah, like about the alien who came here.
Yeah, that one. Of course, that one was done by Roger Corman's crowd.
But the second one that was made, the one the guy copied it.
Yes.
See, I could copy this.
Yeah.
He used
porn stars.
He used a porn star to play the nurse and that sort of stuff, a leading
and
lady.
A lot of other...
Yeah, but she came over a bit sleazy in it.
Yeah. I missed a lot of the women in that one came off as a little sleazy.
Yeah, and that's it. You don't want sleaze. It takes away from the movie. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I mean, the 80s were not all the 80s movies back then were...
Was it 70s or 80s?
It was, I mean, it was the 80s.
Okay.
I mean, most of the time in the 80s and the 70s, they would often get people, who started in the types porn movies would go ahead and actually star in actual small productions.
Yeah, you'll take your clothes off, that'll be okay.
And it would either go directly to home release, or it may do a short film premiere
in art houses and stuff,
in an art
maybe.
house,
Yeah.
and then it gets released on either home media or just gets pulled off the air. Like a lot of movies that you may have seen that in the 70s that were either had too much gore or too much
whatever.
Like the other movies we reviewed, like the I Spill on Your Grave and The Last House on the Left. Both of them very gory. Most of them showed too much skin, so much disgusting gore, and they didn't want that type of thing affecting their image, the film industry. Even though most of those movies were either done in European countries, like some movies would go, especially the over-the-top ones, the over-top nudity ones would be done in those European countries.
Well, back in those days, the more nudity was done in Europe, I think.
And you said it yourself, Mike, when we were talking about people in Europe, there are
different censorship laws.
Different censorship laws.
Not every country, but some countries were a bit easier than other countries. Yeah.
Of course, those same filmmakers, they still get pulled into court and told you should not show so much gore and so much blood and so much sex.
Gore's not the same as nudity, and that the European people don't care about the nudity, but when you watch he did Cannibal Holocaust and that sort of stuff, they're worried about being a stuff film where they're actually killing people and stuff. That was the problem. Not quite the same thing. Mm-hmm. No, not the same thing at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if their movies are still just as graphic back then. I mean, nowadays, but
I can show you some.
Maybe not now, honestly. Anyway,
I know how to download them.
There's a possibility of that. Anyway, so now let's rate this one now.
As a prequel to the first movie, I think it holds up well. Mm-hmm. Okay. The storyline's good, the filming's good, the characters believable. So I'm going to give it a 9.
I'm going to give it... I liked the costumes, and I liked the storyline, and I liked the fact it took things from that period, and I like the fact that...
It made it believable.
It made it believable that Pearl wanted to look beyond her...
Over the rainbow,
in her opinion, when you think about it. And it showed in the... that type of look or her imagination of how she sees the world around her, even though it's mostly fantasy or through a psychotic size. in a creepy way.
She was crackers.
She was crackers. There was even a scene where you see her dead mother telling her you're not good enough in the audition, blah, blah, blah. That was pretty interesting. I like that, using that type of psychology, psychology, I mean, psychotic type of filmmaking style. Anyway, so I'm going to rate it 9 out of 10 myself.
Ooh.
I mean, it's pretty interesting, and I like the fact that it took place in a difficult time, like we were going through a difficult time, where they were dealing with a pandemic or whatever the term was.
They had the Spanish flu back in those days, and they had a similar situation with COVID.
Yeah.
We won't go into COVID, but the point is a lot of people don't believe in it. Yeah. But anyway.
But it was the same thing, and they managed to get through it, as much as possible. Unlike, even though we still seem to have a set of problems when it came to pandemics, obviously.
Anyway, don't worry about
it doesn't matter. So, anyway, that's Pearl, and now where to get it, where to find it, and what to do about it, and what do you want to watch it, where to watch it.
Well, let's see. Where do we get it, folks? Okay, eBay, it's for sale. Gee. Amazon, it's for rent and for sale. Now, a couple of little warnings here. Okay, there's another film, I think it's a French film, with the same name and the same year. So it's Pearl 2022. I think it's the French one, which might be for rent. It ain't the same film. Okay?
Yeah, it may not even be the same plot.
It's not the same anything. It's a French film with the same name and a story. There's also another film called Pearl 2020. Not the same film. And Pearl is the right name for it. But in some listings, you've got Pearl, an extraordinary origin story with extraordinary X-ordinary. So, yeah, it's stylised. So if you see that, you know you're heading in the right direction, but always look for the main actor, Mia Goth, and directed by Ty West, and you can't go wrong.
Right.
I think that's about it. So all campers, Sarah raised the issue earlier on that we are going to take a couple of weeks off. Now, I'm not quite sure what day this will come out, but there are going to be a few weeks we won't be doing anything for. Today is the 8th of July. This might be put on in about a week and a half to 2 weeks' time, but won't be coming back till about the 6th of August.
Yes.
Because Sarah's busy in post-production. So, thank you for your listening, and we will not disappoint you. We will probably get something really, 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 really interesting for our first cab off the rank. What do you reckon?
I reckon.
Get a nice treat.
Yeah. Anyway, guys. Thanks for listening to us, everyone. This is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around, boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now and have a good week.
Bye, guys.